Well, based on Alex's shirt and hat, there could only be one division we're talking about today. That's right. The AFC East is next up on the Spunky on the Big D podcast. Before I bring in Alex to talk Jets, Pats, Bills, and that other team called the Miami Dolphins, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. You can see all my content, all divisional breakdowns. Also, check out the Big D podcast for all you audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. So, Alex, we finally got to your division, the AFC East, which can only mean one thing.
What can that mean?
Well, it means we're talking Bills, Pats, Jets, and some other team. I forgot about that team.
Hey, don't worry, Dylan. I'll give you a very nice reminder up here in a couple of minutes. But yes, a pleasure to be back as always. This has been the one I've been waiting for, the AFC East, so I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, so when you think AFC East, you think of New England's dominance over the past 20 years because seemingly New England won the division every year. But I think times are changing in the division. We've seen the Josh Allen and Sean McDermott win the East the past couple of years. I mean, you think it's Buffalo's division, or will perhaps a team just down the road from you could challenge?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the AFC East was honestly one of the worst divisions in football over the last 20 years because the Patriots were running away with it every single season, and the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets just couldn't really seem to get things right. Times definitely have changed. It's a new era in the AFC East. Obviously, Tom Brady is no longer in New England, which was the real catalyst behind that dynasty and success. I mean, Bill Belichick's doing the best he can over there with that roster, but I think we all know at the end of the day that the majority of that success came from Tom Brady. But yeah, the Buffalo Bills are obviously the dominant team in the division right now. It's their division to lose. And, everyone else is really just trying to catch up to Buffalo, at least at the moment.
Yeah, so I figured we start with the Bills because when you think of quarterbacks in the game, I'm not sure they're all more talented, more dynamic quarterbacks than Josh Allen. Let's see. He's 6'5", 230, can run a full 540, throw the ball 90 yards, hurt the defenders, and in his spare time, I think he could fly an airplane.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible. I'm not gonna lie. It's obviously, as a Miami Dolphins fan, it's a little frustrating suffering through all those years of Tom Brady, and then right after he moves on, Josh Allen starts taking over. But obviously, times aren't so bad in Miami at the moment currently as well. But Josh Allen and the Bills. I mean, we know what we have with the Buffalo Bills. It's a talented roster. It's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Pretty talented defense as well. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, it's the Buffalo Bills division to lose. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that the Bills are going in as pretty heavy favorites to win the AFC East. And honestly, most people, from what I've seen, see the Buffalo Bills coming out of the American Football Conference at the end of the season anyway. So obviously, Josh Allen is an incredible specimen of an athlete. Like you said, whether he's hurdling defenders, throwing bombs. I mean, it just seems like he really has everything that you could be looking for in today's version of the NFL quarterback. Receiving core, obviously, Stephon Diggs, bringing him in was life-changing for the Buffalo Bills organization. That combination between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs has been one of the best quarterback receiver duos we've seen over the last recent history. Running game, Devin Singletary is a serviceable running back, I guess you could say. I know they just brought in a rookie who they have pretty decent expectations for, but it's really the Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen show at the end of the day.
The question with the Buffalo Bills is not do they have enough talent to reach the Super Bowl, is can they get over the Super Bowl hump? Because in the 2020 season, lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Last year, lost to the Chiefs in that crazy division round. So can Buffalo get over the hump and go in there?
Can they? Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing about this roster that really jumps out as a specific weakness. I mean, the secondary, as talented as players as they have in that secondary, they have shown glimpses of kind of cracking under pressure. Obviously, you mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs game where the Bills just needed one stop to finish that game and they couldn't get it done. But can they get over that hump and get to that Super Bowl? Absolutely. I mean, the AFC East, I'm sorry, not the AFC East, but the AFC is pretty up for grabs. I mean, the reigning AFC champions, the Cincinnati Bengals, are they going to have a little bit of a little honeymoon season where they're going to have a tougher schedule? Everyone's kind of zoned in on the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow connection. So is Cincinnati going to be as dominant as they were last season? Only the season can tell us that. But yeah, absolutely. The Buffalo Bills are probably the favorite to come out of the AFC. I haven't checked the numbers in a little bit, but I'm sure that they're the favorite and they have all the talent in the world to make it happen. I mean, really, honestly, the only way I don't see the Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East is if Josh Allen gets hurt. I think that's the only thing that could possibly get in their way.
Absolutely. It's Buffalo's division, and unfortunately, one of our teams is stuck in it.
Yay. It's all right. There's 7 playoff spots for a reason.
Yeah.
But you want to move on to let's move on a little up north. We talked about them a little bit. New England Patriots. It's a very interesting time in New England football at the moment. Obviously, some of those big names that we've grown to know and know as New England Patriots football, the Tom Brady's, the Rob Gronkowski's, even Damian Harris just announced his retirement today.
You mean James White?
James White, I'm sorry, you're right. James White, you're right. Even James White announced his retirement today. So times are definitely changing in New England. And what do you see out of this younger, kind of almost rebuilt New England Patriots team that is going into the 2022 season?
One, I'm not as high on Mac Jones as I was last year, only because New England's not really. I'm befuddled with how the Patriots have gone with things, because New England doesn't have a game-breaking wide receiver. The Patriots don't have a separating wide receiver. Everybody's trying to get younger, faster, quicker wide receivers. And New England added Devontae Parker. And then, they drafted Tyquan Thornton, the rookie out of Baylor, in the second round, who's probably more than third, fourth round guy. I mean, New England's wide receiver core looks like a college wide receiver core. Ohio State's wide receiver core last year, with 2 top 11 picks and probably another top 10 pick, might have been better than the Patriots wide receiver core. Secondly, in a division where you're going to play probably half to a third or a half your games in bad weather, is Mac Jones really a good cold weather quarterback? Because we just talked about Josh Allen, that crazy, and what he did last year, that crazy performance in sub-zero wind chill against New England. Well, Mac Jones isn't exactly Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Aaron Rodgers used to the cold. So is he the kind of quarterback you want in Foxborough?
Yeah, I think all of your points are spot on. I pretty much completely agree with you. I think Mac Jones is probably the most overhyped player in the NFL at the moment. I think he had a very meh rookie year. I didn't see a lot out of Mac Jones that tells me that he's a guy that's going to bring the New England Patriots back to kind of the level of success that they've had over the last 20 years. I mean, I see some people comparing this Patriots team to the Dolphins team and considering it really a fight for the second spot in the AFC East, and I just don't see it at all. I mean, yes, Bill Belichick is going to win some football games. I mean, it's not going to, a Bill Belichick coached football team is not going to go 4 and 17 games, 4-13 or 5-12. It's just not going to happen. Bill Belichick himself can guarantee the Patriots a couple wins, but I just don't see it in the roster to really be even contending for a playoff spot this season. I think Mac Jones is a good game manager. I don't think he's going to necessarily really cost the Patriots very many games, but I really don't see Mac Jones having the ability to really win the Patriots very many games either. And then the roster, like you said, I mean, the wide receiver core, to bringing in Devontae Parker as your kind of marquee wide receiver signing is not, I think, what the Patriots need or are looking for. Devontae Parker is talented. Obviously, I've watched him his entire career, but he's talented when he's on the field, and he just has such trouble staying on the field. The running game is fine. Ramondre Stevenson is probably the most dynamic back out of that backfield, but they also have some utility guys that they're always going to use. That's just the Bill Belichick way. But they lost J.C. Jackson.
By the way, I'm glad you mentioned J.C. Jackson, because what are the Patriots doing? Let's see. Yes, Bill Belichick's the GOAT of head coaches. But you let J.C. Jackson go. J.C. Jackson in the prime of his career. Yeah. A great dynamic cornerback. And then maybe the strangest of all drafts, and I'm not just saying who New England took with its first round pick, Cole Strange from Tennessee, Chattanooga, where Terrell Owens went to college.
Very strange pick indeed.
And then they drafted Thornton from Baylor, who lit up the 40-yard dash. But you know what? Everybody runs well in the underwear Olympics.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. And I don't know if it was Bill Belichick's dog making the draft picks, as we've seen in previous drafts, but it doesn't losing a player like J.C. Jackson is not a move that a contender would be making. It's not a move that a team who is serious about competing in the division, competing for the playoffs, and competing for a deep playoff run. That's not a move they would make. You look at all these teams who are locking in their talent, the Dolphins, which we're going to be talking about shortly with Xavier Howard. It's just this Patriots team is very bland on paper. I don't think they have the quarterback to lead them to any sort of playoff run. I think they were lucky last season to even be in contention for the playoffs. And I think Bill Belichick will win them a couple games, but it's not nearly going to be enough to compete with this pretty loaded AFC.
Agree. I can't believe I'm saying it, but New England's reign is over.
Oh yeah, I think the second Brady walked out those doors, without New England. I mean, that's the biggest problem with New England is they knew that the end of Brady was coming, and they tried to have a successful replacement plan in effect. I mean, obviously the Jimmy Garoppolo story was very big in the news for a long time. He obviously moved on to San Francisco. There was the whole debate between the Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, who wants Brady, who wants Garoppolo. So I don't think they did a very good job of setting themselves up for the future. Obviously, they put their commitment in their first round pick in Mac Jones, but as we both have said, he's a game manager. He's a guy who has some talent and has some ability, but I just don't think he's going to be able to be that game changing quarterback that New England has had for so long and needs to really get back on top. But enough about the Patriots. I'm sick of talking about them anyway. Let's move on to the other northern team. We talked about one New York team in the AFC East. May as well talk about the other one, the New York Jets. I mean, I don't know if there's much to talk about when we're talking about the Jets, but what do you want to lead with?
Well, I feel bad for Zach Wilson being in this division because I'm not sure if Zach Wilson was Wolf the number 2 pick a year and a half ago. Secondly, you look at the Jets and talk about dysfunction. Let's see. The owner, GM, New York. I don't want any part of it. And the Jets just don't get any breaks. I mean, Mekhi Becton potentially could be lost for the season now. And yeah, I like Joe Douglas as a general manager, but the Jets are not going to win. They certainly aren't better than Buffalo, not better than Miami, probably not better than New England. The Jets are going to finish 4th place again, probably get another top 5, top 8 draft pick, which they've gotten for the last 57 years, and just be Mr. Irrelevant and just be team irrelevant. I like Garrett Wilson. I like some of these guys they drafted last year, but the Jets are not. The Jets are not a team.
No.
New York is not a place where you have good teams right now. Yeah, I like Brian Dable and the Giant staff, but New York, but the Jets are not going to win this year, and we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory when you're talking about the Jets at this point. I mean, we may as well start calling them the New Jersey Jets, because they really don't even deserve the title of playing in New York. I mean, obviously the Mekhi Becton news is terrible news if you're a Jets fan. I mean, not that you really had much to expect in this season anyway, but losing your young, pretty much centerpiece of your offensive line is just the last thing that you would ever want. They just signed, just over the last 30 minutes, signed offensive tackle Dwayne Brown, who will, I mean, he's a veteran in the NFL. He's going to be able to, get the job done in protecting Zach Wilson's blind side and everything like that. But it doesn't matter. I mean, like you said, the New York Jets organization as a whole is just so far from where they need to be to even consider being successful. I mean, I like Robert Saleh as a head coach. I think, he has potential as a coach. It's just he has nothing to work with. I mean, I'm hearing Joe Flacco is looking better than Zach Wilson in Jets training camp. I mean, it's just every bit of news that you could be looking to hear as a Jets fan. It's just everything is being the opposite. I think they are one of the top teams in contention for the number 1 pick. I think their defense is not nearly good enough to considering how much they're going to have to be on the field. I think Zach Wilson is young, impressionable. I think he has potential, but I mean, with this current environment, I really don't see the Jets giving him much of an opportunity to grow and blossom into the NFL quarterback I think he can be. And just with the lack of weapons on offense, lack of real game changers, playmakers on defense, it just seems like it's going to be a rough year for the New York Jets.
Get fireman Ed under center. Maybe the Jets win a game or two then.
Fun fact: Fireman Ed grew up as a Miami Dolphins fan. Might not have known that, but that is a fun little New York Jets trivia question for you. Your biggest fan grew up as a Miami Dolphins fan, guys. But
really,
yep. Just a little bit of friendly banter. I've interacted with a lot of Jets fans on Twitter, so it's always nice to be able to pull that one out.
Okay, so let's see. We talked Bills, Patriots, Jets. I'm confused. There's one more team left. I think it's in Miami. I don't know. I think then the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, buckle up on this one. No, I'm just messing with you. But yes, the Miami Dolphins, obviously the last team we'll be talking about in this division. I mean, should I just go? You have any questions? You want to lead me anywhere? How do you want to do
let's see. Well, let's see. When you're not, let's see. When the owner's not hanging out on Tom Brady's crib.
Right. Yeah. And we talked about
you look at what Miami made in the offseason, and you've got a new head coach, and you made one of the biggest moves in recent history, getting Tyreek Hill from Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think the Miami Dolphins the Dolphins are always in the headlines and the media storylines. It typically seems like it's unfortunately more for bad news than good. But this most recent offseason, we've had a little bit of bad news in the headlines, a little bit of good news in the headlines. I'm going to talk about a little bit of both of them. Obviously, we had a whole podcast episode about the recent suspensions and disciplinary action that the NFL has handed out to the Dolphins. So I'm not going to go too far into that. Like I said, I really don't think it's going to make any sort of effect to the team, the players, or, how they look on the field this season. The good news that the Dolphins have had in the offseason is obviously, yes, the Tyreek Hill trade, trading 5 first-round picks to the Kansas City Chiefs for Tyreek Hill, one of the most, if not the most electric player in the NFL, is a great start to your offseason. Bringing in Teron Armstead, the Dolphins offensive line has been the biggest question mark my entire life, honestly speaking. So bringing in a guy, as long as he can stay healthy, that's going to be the key and really that's the biggest key for the Dolphins this season is that offensive line, because you have the weapons, you have Jalen Waddle, you have Tyreek Hill, you've got the speed, you've got Raheem Mostert in the backfield, a lot of really solid running back options to pick from. Raheem Mostert, like I just said, Sony Michel they brought in, and not James Conner,
Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds. I can't believe I just forgot his name, but yes, Chase Edmonds. Talented backfield, some absolute weapons at wide receiver. You heard this here first, Dylan. Eric Ezuk. I can't even pronounce his name. They call him Easy E, but Eric Ezukanma. Rookie wide receiver, drafted him, I believe, in the 3rd round. Watch out for this kid. He is very quickly taking over the number 3 wide receiver spot so far in training camp. He's been making plays every single day in training camp. He is that big body target that will be replacing Devontae Parker in that Miami Dolphins offense. Watch out for that kid. He's going to be good. I'm telling you right now. The defensive side of the ball, one of the most underrated and one of the most elite defenses in the NFL. Xavier Howard and Javon Holland. Javon Holland is a superstar and people don't even know it. He is a top 5 safety in this league, and it's not even up for debate. People will realize that this year. If you doubt that for a second, look at his numbers from last season and just watch Javon Holland highlights from last season, because he is one of the most exciting players, especially on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL. And I cannot wait to watch him shine this season. Jalen Phillips on the defensive line. They brought in Melvin Ingram to really solidify that linebacker core with Jerome Baker. There's a lot of positivity from this Miami Dolphins team, this Miami Dolphins defense, and this hire of Mike McDaniel, I really think is going to take the Dolphins to the next level. I'm not saying that the Miami Dolphins are going to be beating the Buffalo Bills. I don't even know in the regular season, but let alone for the AFC East. Like I said, I think a Josh Allen injury really is the only thing that would make that happen. But the Dolphins are a contender for the playoffs at the very least this season. Mike McDaniel and his creativity, we saw what he did with Deebo Samuel, how he turned him into a running back receiver hybrid, one of the most exciting players last season in the NFL. I'm just so excited, Dylan, to see what he does with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle. You know, everyone always hates on Tua, and I haven't even mentioned Tua yet. I mean, I could be here all day, Dylan, but you know, it's just with Mike McDaniel and this and these weapons, he's a creative mind. He wants to get the ball in his playmakers' hands and build that game plan to be able to utilize his weapons. And with Tua's accuracy, the speed all over the offensive side of the ball, I mean, it's a Dolphins team that will be fun to watch. I promise you that.
One more. Do the Dolphins make the playoffs this year?
Yes. My one word is yes. I think Tua has looked incredible in training camp. He threw 5 touchdown passes against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on team drills today alone. And that's, I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think people are going to be very surprised from what they see out of Tua Tagovailoa this season. I think just Mike Gesicki across the seam. You can't cover all of these weapons. And Tua, his accuracy, I think what people still do not understand about Tua is how severe of an injury that hip was. That is not okay, you're healed, you're back on the practice field, you're good to go injury. That is a mental recovery. That is a physical recovery. And I think 2 years is not out of line of thinking that it would take to recover from that injury. You're going to see a different Tua Tagovailoa this season. You're going to see a different Miami Dolphins team this season. And yes, I do think that they make the playoffs.
Interesting. So I've tried to find a good AFC East trivia question, and I think I found one.
All right.
This happened before either one of all time. So you might have to go back into your 1980s file.
All right. If it has to do with Aqua and Orange, I think I might be on it. But if not, then we'll see how it goes.
Well, it sort of does, but sort of doesn't.
Okay.
Think back to the 1985 AFC Championship game between your Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Who was New England's starting quarterback in said game?
And oh God, Dylan. In 1985, the New England Patriots starting quarterback in the AFC Championship game against the Miami Dolphins. I know Marino would have been the quarterback for Miami. That had to have been before Drew Bledsoe. Who was the New England Patriots quarterback before Drew Bledsoe?
And the New England quarterback was drafted the same year as Dan Marino, both of them in the 83 draft.
So this must be the quarterback in the 83, the one quarterback in the 83 draft people don't talk about, because obviously everyone knows the Elway to Marino draft. I have a name. I don't know why this name is popping in my head. I'm not even sure if he ever played for the Patriots. For some reason, this name is popping in my head. I really don't think I can bring into my memory the 1985 New England Patriots quarterback. I'm going to say Tony Eason.
You suck! You suck!
Is that it? You're joking.
You suck.
I don't know why that name popped in my head. I mean, I'm impressed with myself.
You must have watched it. You must have watched the Elway to Marino documentary.
I have watched the documentary, and I think that's honestly, it was on ESPN maybe 2 weeks ago, and I watched a good majority of it. So it must have been stuck in my head from that 30 for 30, but I'm still surprised I pulled it out. I wasn't even 100% sure if Easton was the guy who went to New England. So I'm proud of that one. I'm proud of that one.
Yeah. I can't believe you got that.
Me neither. My hands are clean. I didn't Google it. I promise you. That was 50% luck, 50% skill. I'll take a 50-50 on
it. Okay. Yep, Tony Eason drafted out of the University of Illinois. And then Tony Eason, the Super Bowl against the 85 Bears, didn't even last the whole game, but placed.
Yeah.
Chicago won I think 46-10.
And what was the Bears' record that season?
They lost one game.
Yeah.
To you guys.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, 1985. You just gotta throw that out. Throw a little bit of shade out there for the Bears fans.
Okay. Who wins this? I know you are a Dolphin fan at heart, but is this Buffalo's division, or do the Dolphins potentially have a prayer here?
I think the Dolphins have a prayer. I will say that. Obviously my heart says Miami Dolphins are going to win the division this year. My head, I'm not as crazy as I look. My head does say the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills win this division. Do I think the Dolphins have a prayer? Yes. I mean, I think the Dolphins have all the potential in the world to be a 13-win team this year. I mean, everything has to go right. Tua has to look as good in the regular season as he does in training camp. The weapons have to pan out. The offensive line has to hold up. The defense has to stay as consistent as they have. And Mike McDaniel has to be that offensive guru that Miami Dolphins fans thinks he is. But if all of those things check out, I do think the Dolphins have the potential to take this division. I really do. But I get as of today, the Buffalo Bills will be winning the division.
The calculator tells me not only Buffalo wins this division, but the Bills are the favorites to represent the AFC in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, and no one's gonna give you any sort of shade for that take. I mean, they're a great football team. There's a reason why Miami hasn't beaten Buffalo in 3 years. They're the hot team in the NFL right now. There a lot of people are big fans of them, but I'm telling you, man, don't count out these Dolphins. It's going to be a different team this year.
Hey, wait till you see my Super Bowl pick. You're going to be shocked at it.
Hey, we got to once we finish up these divisions, which this is the last division, correct? Have we done NFC East yet?
One of.
Yeah. So I mean, once we finish that up, I think we might have some preseason predictions coming up. But
I like them apples. So thanks for talking Bills, Pats, Dolphins, Jets, Alex. Hopefully, we see your Dolphins back in the playoffs this year, because you imagine a playoff game in Miami.
Dylan, I've been dreaming about it. I've been dreaming about it for 26 years.
Come
But thanks for
on.
having me out. Thanks for having me on as always, Dylan. It's been a pleasure. I've been waiting for this one. This was fun. I really enjoyed it. So you know what I gotta say. It's AFC East Day, baby. Fins up.